Do you still have some Valentine paper? Let's see if we can turn it into some spring cards. Hi, I'm Jess from jesscrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Today I'm going to use a 6x8 paper pad from Simple Stories called Heartstrings, and it has a definite Valentine love theme, but I thought many of the papers would be easily adapted to springtime, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. I think it's really helpful as a crafter to think about how we can use our paper outside of the seasons, because then we can maybe get a little bit more use out of it. Valentine's Day is over, but next Valentine's Day, I'm probably going to see a new paper pad I want. So if I can get a few more sheets used from this one, that's probably a helpful thing. So I'm using 6x8 paper busting template for Slimline Cards, number 8. So I'm going to be making Slimline cards today. You could pick a different template, make your own cards, and just kind of think about how we would look at this Valentine paper. So this pattern paper pack, I think at first glance, it looks like a Valentine patterned paper pad, but it actually has very little reference to Valentine specifically. And in fact, there's a lot more just kind of like love themed, which I think would be great for anniversaries or just general like thinking of you, but in a lovey kind of way cards, that kind of thing. So I don't think there's very many things in this paper pad that I wouldn't use outside of Valentine's Day, given the right occasion. And I think that a lot of times these simpler papers that I'm going to be choosing to use as Easter papers today, actually, they could be used for any occasion. So there are like floral papers, there are hearts on some of the papers. Those again don't have to be for any particular theme, but the colors of Valentine's Day do sometimes lean themselves to like those pastel colors that we tend to think of for Easter or springtime. So even these tags here, which are like, this is one of the more Valentine type pages, it really just says like love and XOXO, that kind of thing. There was one little tiny thing that I thought, okay, that is for Valentine's Day because it says Happy Heart Day. You could easily cover up that sentiment though and use it for another occasion. So for today's card, I am going to use two different pattern papers in the collection, but I'm only going to be using one side of them. So these two patterned papers, this one has the different like cut aparts on it. And I thought, those are great. I could see making easy cards with them. However, I don't need a lot of like love themed cards. So the background is a great spring paper in my opinion. It has these little like flower images on it. And then this paper, I think both sides of these are great. Or both sides of this paper is great for Easter. You could totally just use it as is, but I needed a paper to combine with this. So I wanted to tie these two together since they have that same background color. And since we're only going to be using one side of each of these pattern papers, but I do want to mix the patterns, I'm going to cut two sheets. Each sheet would give me two cards, and so therefore today I'm going to make 4 cards from these 2 sheets combining the different patterned papers. So I am going to start cutting it according to my template. When using tools like paper trimmers, please follow all manufacturer safety instructions. So we're going to start by cutting the 6-inch side to 3 inches. So we're cutting the paper in half at 3 inches. I am cutting 2 papers because that works well for my paper trimmer and I feel comfortable, but please use your own discretion. And then I'm going to start cutting 3/4 of an inch off the top. So we're starting at 8. We're going to go to 7 1/4 and then 6 1/2. And we're going to need to cut 6 of these off of each side. And I lost track of my measurements there for a minute. We're going to 5 1/4, 5 inches. So each time it's just 3/4 of an inch. And then we're getting to the 4 1/4 inch mark. And finally to 3 1/2 inches. And since we are making slimline cards today, the slimline cards that I typically make are 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. So that's the measurements that I'm giving today. And so this particular panel is the full 3.5 of the card. And so we'll take that into account when we make a mat, and we're just gonna put mats on like the mat's only gonna show on 2 sides of the card, but this is gonna be like kind of our focal point image. And then I'm gonna cut the other side the exact same way, cut 6 pieces that are 3 by 3.25 inch. And this template is available in a pack in the Etsy shop, and I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. We're gonna go with a bit of a monochromatic look today because I'm gonna pick a blue cardstock for my mats, and we only need 2 different sizes of mats. We're going to need one mat that again just sticks out on the sides, so it's going to be 3.25 by 3.5. So you won't see any of the mats sticking out the top and bottom. That is a great opportunity to cut something out of the center. So say that you need like, you want to use a sentiment on a future card, you can just go ahead, cut out, you know, it can be like if you are going to use a die cut sentiment on the card today, it would be great to cut it out of the same coordinating cardstock. But you can also just be like, hey, you know, if you know that you use a lot of hello sentiments, just go ahead and cut the hello sentiment out of that blue cardstock in the center and know it'll get used on a future card. And that way you're kind of reducing the amount of cardstock used, and you're not like going to a new sheet or to your scraps or something the next time that you need a sentiment. I just measured that at the wrong measurement. Hopefully that didn't mess me up too much, but I'm worried it did. Okay, so I measured this to 3.5. That's what I get for talking while I'm crafting. It's at 3.5 by 3.25. So that's one of the pieces that I need, 3.5 and 3.25. So unfortunately, I should have been able to get one more piece out of this if I hadn't cut it wrong, but it is what it is, and we could use these for cutting our other mats and the other mat measurement. So I'm going to need 4 of these pieces. And that measurement we're going to need is for the pieces that are 3 by 3.25. And so those mats are going to be 3.25 by 1 inch, so they're 1/4 inch bigger on each side. However, this is going to be tucked underneath the center panel. So some of it is going to be covered by that center panel. And so if you had some scraps of cardstock that were only 3 inches long, but you could easily cut 1 inch mats at like 3 by 1 inch mats, it would probably work. Something you might want to test out, and just something I want to point out because we are kind of creating a bit of an illusion here, but it'll look like it's stretching all the way across. But the reason that I gave the measurements in the size that I did is because if you cut it to 1 inch by 3.25 inches, you can just center your whole piece of patterned paper, and that might be a little easier than say if you only had one that was 3 inches long, but you would still be kind of just visually checking to make sure that the side that's going to be sticking out is the same. However, then you kind of have to pay attention. You have to, like, if it was a little bit short and instead of centering it, you were kind of offsetting it or something, you'd have to make sure you have 3 for the left side and 3 for the right side that are correctly centered and all that. So I tried to give you the easiest measurement, but also wanted to point out it would be a good time to use some of those like scraps that are a little bit the wrong size, but could be okay in this situation. And so you're gonna need 6 of this mat for each card and just 1 of the larger mat. So let's take a look at assembling the card. So I have my pieces that are 3 by 3.25 inch, and they are on mats, sorry, they're 3 by 3/4 inch, and they're generally on mats that are 3.25 by 1 inch. However, I had these little pieces of cardstock that happened to be 3.5 inches long. So rather than cutting that little extra 1/4 inch off, I kind of just left it since you're not going to see it. But I was thinking you could actually cut pieces that are 8.5, so the full length of the card by 1 inch. Place it at the bottom, top. You see there's no border at the bottom or top, and then in the center. And I would be tempted to do that even though it would potentially use a little bit more cardstock, because I kind of feel like I need a little cardstock to support the center anyway. And so yes, I will be using a scrap for that, but if I were to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and cut 8.5 by 1 inches, I could cut 11 of those without any scraps. And so it could be pretty efficient anyway. So I am going to put that little scrap in the center there, and then this will be the focal point of the card, and you could go on and embellish it however you like from here. I think this could easily be we're gonna make Easter cards today. It could be a happy spring card, it could be a birthday card, it could be a thinking of you, it could be probably a sympathy card. I mean, I know it's a little bit kind of cheerful colors, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I think you could use this as idea and branch off for whatever kind of card you needed, but I wanna talk about a little bit about some embellishing that I'll do today. So I picked up this fun set from Fawn, and it's called the Stamp and Stencil Easter Eggs. And it comes together with the stencil. So Fawn has coloring stencils, and they're usually a separate purchase, but this one is combined, and the price point, if I remember correctly, reflects that. But it allows you to color in the Easter eggs with patterns. And so I have this mouse. He was colored with Copic markers, but I'm going to color the egg with my distress inks. And so here I have the plain stencil that just gives a base coat to the egg. And the way that I'm approaching this is to do a base coat that is light and then add the details with a darker color on top, because I think that is one of the easiest ways to approach it. So I am starting with Tumbled Glass Distress Ink, and I did get recently Ranger released these like stickers that you can put on the side of your ink cubes, and I like them because it's a little bit easier to put the ink cubes away. If you have a couple blues out, knowing which one's which, there is the label on the bottom, so you could absolutely just turn them over, but it's just a little bit easier to see visually. And I also use the circle stickers to know where it goes back in my collection, so if I know what color is missing and where, actually it's mostly just like what color is missing, because I'll be like, I'm missing a blue, but since I don't know which one it is, I might not know which one to look for. It's not a big deal. But the stickers were pretty inexpensive, so I decided to go ahead and do it, but I don't think you need either of those things. And this is the mini ink tray. I just took the top off because that worked for me, but you do you. Like, I don't want to tell anyone to ruin their products or do something unsafe, but that is how I store my distress inks. And then I have a blending brush that I purchased on Amazon, and I just dedicate one blue brush to all my blue distress colors. These are the regular distress inks, and I'm just going to give it a nice light coat here, and I'm using like a mat that cleans up really easily. Then I have some tape around this dot image, and the reason that I have the tape there is so that I don't accidentally, like if I kind of go too wide with my brush, I might accidentally put some ink through here, and then it would get on the little mouse or just kind of spread where I don't want it. It's not always going to be a very big deal, like if some got on this bottom here or all that, but I'm also using the tape to hold it down. However, I would say that the key is like protect anything where you don't want the ink. So like, for instance, protect the side with the critter. But I was doing a number of these, and some critters are on the left side of the egg and some are on the right side of the egg, so that's why I just did both. And then the one at the top is just kind of holding it in place. I realize I'm going in with the distress. I've made a lot of little mistakes today. I'm going to take Salty Ocean and layer that on top. I think maybe I did Broken China in my other examples, so it might be, I think it was Broken China, so I'm going to use it again. But you could, of course, just layer any darker color on top. And honestly, even just adding more layers of that light color would eventually make a difference. It does seem to layer on top of each other, but it might not be as prominent as you like. Okay, and then peel that up, and I have a decorated egg. And then I die cut these out with the coordinating die set. The coordinating die set also came with a coordinating die for the words Happy Easter from the stamp set. And they have a little bit of room for you to add color. So I just went in with the same colors that I used to color the green frog to color the Happy Easter. And so I have a whole bunch of different animals. I did use some yellow for the eggs as well. And I believe it was, I want to say, squeezed lemonade and mustard seed. for the yellows. So let's look at finishing off the card. I will mention the Copic colors in the video description, so if you're wondering which ones I used. At first, when I saw the die this way, I thought Happy Easter might be cut as one large sentiment, but it's actually cut into 2 parts, which I kind of like. So the the stamp is 1 piece, but then when you die cut it, it comes into 2 pieces, and that gives you a little bit more versatility in terms of being able to like stack them on top of each other or spread them across the card, that kind of thing. So I was pleased to see that. So I will be gluing this down. I do find that I like liquid glue for some of these smaller elements sometimes, although I will often use tape runner when I am using the patterned paper. So I started this video with thinking about how you could use your holiday specific supplies for another occasion. And then I ended with a stamp set that feels really specific to Easter. You know, they have all of the different critters have eggs. It's a really fun stamp set. I love it. I could see using it many times and it was really fun to work with. However, I was like, well, what would be my, like, okay, you know, what could I do with this outside of Easter? And I thought you could, even still using the coordinating dies, you could cut them out and then cut off a little bit of the egg and replace it with something else for a different season. Specifically came to mind is pumpkins. So if you had like a Lawn Fawn set that, you know, so they kind of like, they match like line thickness, all that kind of thing. But, you know, any of your stamp sets with like putting a pumpkin over them. I think also because these would have the die cut line around it, perhaps you wouldn't want the inconsistency. So you could maybe just like die cut a pumpkin out of cardstock, like not a stamped image, but just some kind of like layering pumpkin, or, you know, think of something else for a different occasion and still have them next to it. Because while a couple of these are like, these look like spring critters to me, except for maybe the mouse. I certainly think of mice all year long, but I was thinking, you know, there are other Lawn Fawn sets that I can think of that die cut like vegetables, things like that. So again, if you trim off some of the egg and layer it so they look like they're peeking out from behind some other holiday or just simple object, balloons for maybe, or presents. I think presents might work a little better because balloons, they might look like they're floating away, but hiding behind a present or something like that could work well for a birthday. So I completed 1 card, but I will be making several others. I have the rest of all the pieces that I need that I'll just assemble with the same directions. If you found this video helpful, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.